everyone. Welcome back again to Inner Strength Check podcast, home of all things hobbies, riffs, art, and mental health. Today, joining me is the main man behind UK metal sensation Sylosis. Joining me is guitarist and vocalist Josh Middleton. Josh, how you going, man?
Yeah, pretty good. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Good, thanks. How have things been in the Sylosis camp lately?
Yeah, good. We just finished a 5 week tour like 2 days ago, which was like our best tour ever. So
Yeah,
excellent stuff.
best tour ever. Well,
Yeah.
what made it the best for you, you reckon?
Um, it's a headline tour, which we haven't done in like a proper headline tour like this. I mean, we haven't done it in years in Europe
Mm.
and the UK. We've done some like co-headline stuff. Um, like the last one we did out over here was co-headline Fit for an Autopsy in the UK, where we closed some of the shows, and then Europe we were direct support to them. Whereas this was just a Sylosis tour, and it was good to see what we can do. I mean, we had a great package. We had Revocation, Distant, and a band called Life Cycles with us, so it was. Yeah, it's not like it's just us on our own, but a headline tour is the best way to really gauge like how things are going, and
Yeah, yeah,
um,
sure.
yeah, just like amazing crowds, great shows. The UK in particular was a huge step up for us in terms of just the size of venues we've done and stuff.
Okay.
And yeah, it's just been amazing.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And that's a great success hot off the back of the release of the new album. Speaking of which, how was the response to some of the new tracks? What tracks did you guys play off of New Flesh?
We played Erased, Lacerations, All Glory No Valor, and the title track, The New Flesh. And we, we did about 4.5 weeks of playing All Glory No Valor before the song was released.
Mm.
And that was always a really fun one to play. That's like, yeah, one of the most fun songs in the set. And then we added Lacerations towards the end of the tour when after the single had been released,
Mm.
and particularly in London and well, the last three shows, Manchester in particular and Dublin, like hearing that loud sing along was incredible.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's funny you say that actually, because I had a bit another been giving it a few spins lately, and I had another test spin of it right before I hopped on. And then I actually realized, bang on interview time, I was like, oh, I've got to. I was literally went back and listened to Lacerations because there's something about that vocal hook, like that vocal hook of the chorus. It got me. It reminded me of like listening to, I don't know, like Slipknot's Volume 3 Subliminal Verses back in the day. Just some songs that just really, really hooked you. And it's interesting because earlier today I was listening to stuff like Dormant Heart and that kind of thing, just to kind of gauge, just get a across the discography feel because it's been a while since I've gone back to your earlier material. And yeah, I guess the comparison from then to now, it's like, wow, you guys have like there's been a huge stylistic shift, and I understand a lot of that was with the previous album as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I think part of the stylistic shift doesn't seem night and day to me from like how we write and the type of songs
Yeah.
we write. Just because, but I think that there's two big differences from like let's say Dormant Heart
Mm.
to the latest record, where the production we were deliberately going for something a bit like raw and I don't know underproduced with Dormant Heart, and I'm
Yeah.
personally not a big fan of the mix. And although I didn't mix it, I can take a lot of responsibility for that because I was sort of pushing Scott Atkins, who mixed it. Like, I'll do this and comparing it to like loads of dirty sounding records, but it sounds a bit kind of muffled and odd to me.
Mm.
And then we've just changed guitar tuning a bit. So we've gone back to
Right.
having quite a tight modern production like we did on the first record,
Mm.
but we're in a C sharp standard now. So I think just the difference in production and the guitar tuning makes
Yeah.
like it seem like there's a big difference in terms of like the types of riff that we do.
Well, yeah,
You know,
that's
it's
actually a good point
just really
because
centralized.
I even said stylistic shift, but you're right. I do actually think it's that because when I do think about like looking across the album, like all the Sylosis hallmarks are there too. So it is
Yeah, I'd like to think
interesting,
so.
and the mix is huge on this album. Like it sounds like something Devin Townsend would have mixed. It's got a very wall of sound kind of
Yeah,
production to it.
I do like a lot of elements taking up a lot of space. Yeah, but thank you very much. I
Yeah.
think, I mean, there's a lot more, leaning on the groovier side of stuff, I guess, these days. Like, growing up, we were always super into like Pantera, Far Beyond Driven, and
Yeah.
Slipknot, Iowa, and like stuff that had a lot more groove to it. So a lot of that's coming through, more so than on Dormant Heart and those records, where it's
Yeah.
just a lot of thrash. But that's always going to be a big part of our sound. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say, oh, it's exactly the same as Dormant Heart, but I, I still feel like you say, a lot of the hallmark Sylosis stuff is in there. And I
Mm.
mean, even Lacerations, like to me, it reminds me of some of the stuff on our EP, The Supreme Oppressor, which came out before we did like a full length album in like 2006, 2007, maybe.
Mm.
I don't know
Mm.
why. To me, I just see it as it could have been on The Supreme Oppressor for me.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. And speaking on that note, like spared from the guillotine, that's just like that's got to be, and that's the other thing I was going to mention, because maybe some of the more thrashy, gotta go fast oriented folks like myself are sitting here in this part of the interview going, "What have they given up the speed?" But like spared from the guillotine, that's got to be one of your fastest. Like I
Yeah,
reckon,
that one's pretty ripping. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
Beneath the Surface, that's probably the fastest we've ever done, like
yeah,
really
yeah,
fast thrash stuff. And then New
yeah.
Song, The New Flesh is super. I mean, like, where my influence is on my sleeve, it's a complete Sepultura worship, like early, like Arise, that kind of thing. So,
Mm.
All Glory Novella, absolutely fast one. So, like, the speed's still there in all its
Yeah.
glory. It's just balanced out more with more
Mm.
groovy stuff. I like Lacerations has thrashy verses and stuff, but yeah, it's just more varied. We never used to have as much variety and variation in our stuff, I think. So it
Mm.
seems like a big, like, oh, they've changed things up, which we have, but it's not. It's just the blend of tempos is just
Yeah,
a bit
it's more of a
very much.
reshuffle than like, yeah, it's more of a reshuffle of like the proportion of riffage versus like throwing in a whole, exactly throwing in Latin groove, but feel free to if you want. It's not different.
Yeah.
But is that sort of also what might be behind it as well with your songwriting approach? Like I imagine if you're still writing stuff, people often will go, "Oh, I liked it up until X album," forgetting the fact of some bands might have written very similar kind of sounding albums, and eventually you want to branch out and write something different. What kind of influenced you this time round in terms of like your songwriting process?
I think over the last few years, and it's the same for a sign of things to come. Just been going back, rediscovering a lot of stuff I listened to as a kid,
Mm,
and there was a period. I mean, sort of what led to us going on hiatus in 2016. A lot of people think that I stopped Sylosis to join Architects, but we sort of really hadn't announced that we'd put the band on hiatus right after we toured at the start of 2016, and that was born out of me that tour. Just the peak of me being frustrated with Sylosis and all the restrictions I put on the band.
mm,
The main ones being stuck in E standard tuning, which I just wanted to be a little lower, a little bit heavier, but
yeah,
I didn't want to. I was scared to change tuning because I hated it when I'd see like Sepultura live and they play all the old stuff off Arise in like drop B or something, and I was like, it just sounds wrong. But we're
yeah,
in a band that can't, we never be able to afford like taking crew and guitar techs and
yeah,
loads of guitars. So we fly to America and was like, we can't take a backup for this tuning and this tuning, and so I
yeah,
felt stuck in the guitar tuning. I felt stuck. I put a lot of limitations on us early on, like no breakdowns, nothing that resembles metalcore, because I used to firsthand see and it's not as prevalent now, but when I was a kid, like a young teenager, I'd see the elitism within heavy music, and being a
yeah,
big fan of extreme music,
yeah,
but also into new metal at the time.
yeah,
I had friends who liked the death metal stuff, who were like, yeah, I don't like
yeah.
the Slipknot, Deftones stuff.
They're
So
using B standard, new metal.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
so
It's all
we
seven
made a very
string. Yeah.
yeah we made a conscious effort to really not include anything that might be perceived as
Mm,
metalcore or whatever, just to try and appease that audience. But
mm,
the truth is, first off, I got into metal through bands like Korn and Deftones and Slipknot and a lot of new metal stuff. And
mm.
then I was also into like Hatebreed. I actually just found I've been like, you can see this house is pretty grim right now. I've been like moving stuff around and we're doing DIY. I found a box of old CDs and like a bunch of old Kerrang cover mount CDs.
Oh, I loved them.
I remember
Yeah, yeah.
finding I just found one from 1998 which was the first time I heard Hatebreed. It had Burn the Lies on it on a Metal Hammer CD. And I was
Nice.
always into Hatebreed. Like
Yeah.
when Perseverance came out, I was obsessed with that.
Yeah,
So
same. Yeah.
I think people might think that what we're doing now is new, or we're trying to go metalcore,
Yeah.
whatever it may be. I don't really mind now,
Yeah.
what people call us. I did for a while. I didn't like being called metalcore, but metalcore can be so much now that it doesn't bother
Yeah.
me. But and at the same time, I was like grew up listening to like Far Beyond Driven, which is essentially there's tons of breakdowns on it. But I was worried
Mm.
if we did anything that sounded like Far Beyond Driven, people aren't going to go, oh, that sounds like Pantera. They'll be like, oh, it sounds like insert metalcore band that I didn't want to
Yeah.
be compared to. But yeah, in terms of what's influenced the new record, it's just allowing myself to include
Yeah.
all that stuff. Because when we started, we used to play in drop B. We listened to a lot of Hatebreed and new
Yeah.
metal stuff and Slipknot and Pantera and a lot of extreme music. So there's just a bit more focus on the intensity of it all and wanting to
Mm.
sound like, for me, like, I love when I was a kid, Far Beyond Driven, but also the Great Southern Trendkill, which that one in particular is like so intense and heavy, not in an
Mm.
extreme metal way, but just it's just so visceral. Same
Yeah.
with like
Yeah.
Slipknot, Iowa. So there's a lot more
Mm.
groove and focus on stuff feeling heavy. And I think even records like Dormant Heart, where the production was pretty raw and stuff, and Monolith, the writing process was me sat in front of a computer, just compiling stuff and just writing a riff, and I wasn't really thinking about the live environment or what it felt like to play these songs. It didn't
Right.
feel
Yeah.
those albums don't feel very physical. And when we play anything off those records, no matter how much fans might like them, the crowd reaction is always like half the amount than the new stuff because the new stuff just feels like I
Yeah.
want to flip a table, like it feels heavy, which is
Yeah.
what I always wanted to have in Sylosis, and I feel like we lost that along the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so for me, I mean, it probably sounds like I'm like making excuses and for like the change in sound, be like, oh, it's
Mm.
just a throwback. But I mean, I can pinpoint. You name me a song, name me a riff, I'm like, it's inspired by this, it's inspired by
Yeah.
this, and it all goes back to
Exactly. Yeah.
around the year 2000 for me, where I can, all the groove and extremity and stuff
Mm.
of Great Southern Tranquil, Iowa. There's even like a lot of, you know, Faith No More stuff, like Erase, the chorus and that. It's super
Yeah.
easy for people to be
Yeah. It's
like,
got a
oh
strong
yeah,
alt. Yeah. Yeah.
people
I
have,
hear that.
it's gone metalcore, or because Josh was an architect, it sounds like an architect's chorus. And I don't think we'd have got that comparisons if I wasn't in the band. But to me, I'd be like, listen to Angel Dust or Faith No More. I'm like deliberately trying to sound like
Yeah. Yeah.
Mike Patton when I can. And he has like a lot of songs where he uses like distorted vocals, and I've made
Yeah.
the chorus distorted, and there's a lot of like weird, like interesting chords and
Get the
melodies that
gas mask for the tomahawk
yeah,
effect.
exactly, yeah. So I
Yeah.
mean, case in point, like so much of it is just allowing what I consider the roots of the band, which is completely
Mm.
undocumented because we didn't release music then, to
Mm.
really flourish into the present day.
Mm.
And I don't. That doesn't mean I want to cut off any of the sounds we had. I still really like Edge of the Earth and Conclusion. I want to try and find a way to sort of marry and keep those elements from
Yeah.
Conclusion Age, Edge of the Earth, but into where we are now. But
Mm.
I think yeah, I've done a lot of interviews where I'm really like stressing this point and making it trying to make it as clear as possible, but that I'm bringing back just old influences. It's not we're not going metalcore ever. I think a lot of
Yeah.
people just assume that I'm full of shit, but
Yeah, well, I've had to listen
yeah.
to it, and as someone who's a bit of an extreme metal like snob myself, even like for me, I was like there were quite a few moments I was like, damn, you know. Do you think maybe too, Josh? I don't know if it's maybe even coincidental or not, because something I'm noticing about the metal scene, if we compare like say like the 90s and 2000s, especially, forums pre-social media and people being like, oh my God, they're using C drop B, what a bunch of more core idiots, blah blah. Fast forward today, and I think before you touched on, like, say, for instance, you're balancing out more intensity with more groove. And I can't help but notice, like, say, for instance, like, there's the death and black metal scenes are just cross-pollinating so much.
Hmm.
Black metal's seeping into all these other genres. A lot of metallic hardcore is making a bit of a comeback where a lot of
Yep.
metalcore bands are kind of stepping out and just bringing out the big guns with the riffs. maybe I don't know if it's coincidental or anything, but for me, there just feels like a general trend, maybe post lockdown, where people are just sort of like, I'm not caring as much about this whole genre thing. I don't know if that's something you've kind of
I mean,
noticed or
I've
felt
definitely
or.
noticed that in general. Like, I think,
Mm,
like I said, a lot of the decisions or restrictions put on Sylosis around before we started doing our first record when we tuned
mm,
up to E standard and there was like no breakdowns allowed kind of stuff.
mm,
Um, like I said earlier on, like I was so the elitism was so prevalent, especially when I was finding extreme music and getting into like Cannibal Corpse and Morbid Angel, and I'd buy this magazine in the UK called Terrorizer, which was
Terrorizer,
like
yeah, yeah,
extreme music.
yeah,
And and all the friends I had that liked, you know, Vital Remains and all the death metal stuff that I liked, they all had long hair and like proper
yeah,
like death
yeah,
metal guys. And I could hang with them because I loved all that music and I could be like talk to them about all these bands, maybe even more of an encyclopedia on that stuff than they were. But
mm,
they would have this elitism over me liking Deftones or Vision of
mm,
Disorder or like anything outside of that.
yeah,
I just think that's so long ago now. The lines are blurred and that level of elitism doesn't exist as much.
yeah,
So all these concerns I'd had all these years of like being like, oh well, I don't want to get called a metalcore band or whatever. Um, I just don't care because I'm older now and I just
yeah,
don't care what people think. But B, I
yeah,
just don't
yeah,
think it's as big a deal. I don't think that elitism's there. But yeah,
mm,
the genre stuff, like you say, it's definitely branching out and kind of cross pollinating a lot more. It's hard
mm,
to sort of pinpoint certain bands. Like, are they a metal band? Is it a hardcore band? And
yeah. It's almost becoming more irrelevant. It's like a big old soup, just good
yeah,
music, not just good music.
yeah,
And in terms of like how it felt songwriting wise, for you with that more relaxed nature, did you find that the songwriting process came more easily because there was less of that kind of inhibition and judgment, or like,
yeah. I
yeah,
think so. I think it just less restrictions, the more free you can be like, oh, let's do that. And we definitely have been trying to like put things in songs that we've never done before.
mm,
Um, not trying to like necessarily branch out and bring in completely different genres
yeah,
in. But like for example, this song "All Glory No Valor," we had this middle section, and originally it was quite melodic. They had this twin guitar thing, and to me it was like super Sylosis-y, like dual guitar lead thing, and like very Cradle of Filth inspired. But Ali and the other guys were like, "This song's like such a ripper. It should just be like just one of those super punch you in the face songs. Keep it short and just keep it fun and heavy, and don't do all
mm,
this self-indulgent guitar whittly stuff." And I was like, "Oh, well, okay, fair enough." And then we put this section in.
yeah,
It goes into like this groovy riff, and then it goes into like a I guess it's a complete kind of hardcore, you know, terror, hatebreed kind of thing where you've got this dum 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 like with these gang vocals,
mm,
and that was just fun to do because we've just never done that. So I
yeah,
like the idea of people hearing that song for the first time. They're like, "Whoa, I did not expect this," but it's not like a complete departure. It's just like just a thing in a song that we've never done before that is just new and keeps things interesting and exciting.
I can kind of hear elements of that in the album too with I'm just which I doing the intro to that versus that breakdown riff comes out of nowhere, and I made a point to write down like underlined breakdown, and I'm thinking, which one?" Just the like I think the other thing that's cool about this album is, I think from my perspective, listeners' perspective, there's moments where I sort of think I've got it beat, like, oh yeah, this kind of sounds like old Sylosis or whatever. But there's just you've scattered in a few different moments there, like the that breakdown riff at the end of Adorn is just like
Do you mean
tech
the
death.
really mechanical kind of
Yeah, yeah, very Fear
that to me is
Factory.
like Fear Factory? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
That was a hundred
yeah,
percent what we're going for. I think, or like some of the Pantera.
yeah.
Actually, we referenced I referenced By Demons Be Driven. Like that's got like a digga 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 digga
R-
digga digga.
Oh,
But I
nice.
didn't come up
Yeah,
with that. Ali was in the studio. It's like, well, we had a
yeah,
outro and a riff, and he
yeah.
was like, let's get rid of that. And Ali was just like, I was like, let's just do something rhythmic. So he kind of came up with that. So I don't.
Nice.
It's not. It doesn't sound exactly like By Demons Be Driven, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that. The song itself has a lot of. It's just pure 90s. It's 90s Cradle of Filth, 90s Typo Negative, and like 90s obsolete era Fear Factory
Yeah.
and some
Bang, bang,
Sylosis,
bang.
and that's
Yeah.
essentially what that song is to me.
Yeah. Man, you could, if Sylosis never works out, you could moonlight doing like TikTok reel reviews for bands. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. You
Yeah,
got it made. Well, in terms of the future of Sylosis, so what's coming up now that the album's out and the tour's done? Are you guys taking a break, or have you got more? Because you guys have a pretty grueling kind of live schedule at the best of times, don't you? Like when you
I
guys are
mean,
booking.
yeah, it's sometimes. I mean, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm not at the same time. We've got about a month at home, and then we've got a tour in the US, which I am looking forward to. It's going to be amazing, but it's 5 weeks, and as a dad and a husband,
Mm,
I don't like being gone that long. So
yeah,
it weighs on my mind quite a lot. I find it quite difficult
yeah,
being apart, and I feel quite guilty for the kids and for the amount of work that my wife then has to undertake in just being a parent and running a household. So, but the tour itself is going to be great. So we're going to America with Believe From Within. It's Believe From Within, us, Great American Ghost, and Life Cycles again. Um, and I feel like I'm pretty excited for this one. I think we've had a strong album campaign, and we been added to with like the cover of Kick Ass Metal Spotify playlist at the moment, and getting played on Sirius over there. So I'm
oh,
hoping
yeah,
we'll see. And
wow,
the last two tours we've done, went to the States twice within a year, just gone. So
yeah,
I think we have made some steps up and gained some new fans over there. So it'd be interesting to see how those shows are, and playing a direct support slot, which we've never done. So we get to play like 45 minutes and hear
nice,
loads more songs than when we open up a tour or we're on stage.
yeah. Nice, nice. That'll be interesting. Be interesting to see, and I look forward to the live response for those in the States. But you've got your current slog of having to talk to guys like me, and then you've got a bit of a break. So enjoy that break because you guys have earned it, and yeah, bask in the success. Like I think a lot of people have rated this album really highly. And yeah, I think it's a fantastic album, man. Like it's yeah, it really sort of it actually sort of surprised me because as I said, I can be a bit of a snob. Like
Okay.
oh, it's got to be 180 beats per minute. And I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like, first listen, I was like, oh yeah, yeah, I guess I'm liking it. And then, oh no, I'll go listen to it again, and just it just clicked. But yeah, no, I enjoy it. So
cool,
I
man.
guess this
Thank you.
is my word out there to all the neckbeard purists that want it frozen Norwegian black metal speed. There's still plenty of that in the new one. It ain't all
Yeah,
just it ain't all just chunk and breakdowns. There's a lot of techie riffs and a lot of thrashy riffs, a bit of something for everyone.
yeah, I think so. I mean, again, like I wouldn't say we've gone, I don't know, turned into like Hatebreed and just dumbed down and stuff. But like I said, like I grew up on Far Beyond Driven, and there's technical and extreme elements to that, but there's also just a ton of groove, and that's kind of
Mm,
just what we're trying to bring in a bit more of. But I think the main thing, as much as it's a pissed off and like, sometimes emotional record, like it is just fun. It's a
yeah,
fun album. I think there's just like a lot of good riffs that just make you want to bang your head, which is the main
yeah.
thing.
Awesome. Well, you enjoy that cathartic fun on the live front, mate, and
Thank you.
congrats on the release of the new album.
Thank you very much.
No
Appreciate
worries.
it.
You take it easy, man.
Yeah, you too, man. Thank you very much for this. Appreciate it. Take
See
care.
ya. Hello again, everyone. It's Brady here. I'm just popping in on Music Monday, which is a day when we often post music news under the category heavy news, as well as a lot of our interview content and reviews and more. So do be sure to check out the blog today and our social media. But I'm just circling back, not so much to do some self promo, but also just to give thanks to Josh Middleton for another great interview. This is our second time talking together, and it's been great to kind of chart the progression over time. I definitely recommend checking out the New Flesh. It's a very diverse album, but I think as Josh and myself both discuss in the interview, it doesn't hasn't sacrificed heaviness. There's a really anthemic feel to a lot of the songs. I mentioned in the interview that Lacerations, the chorus for that, is living rent free in my head. It still is. Thanks a lot, Josh. That's still stuck there. So thanks to the Sylosis crew and to Nuclear Blast Records, particularly the One Man Army, John Hoa. Thank you for teeing up this opportunity. And whether he's listening or not, just a big shout out to the man himself. from Nuclear Blast Records Australia, as well as Nuclear Blast Records in the UK. You can check out the full details for the upcoming album, including album order links, as well as the recently dropped cool video clip for Spared from the Guillotine, or Guillotine if you like. It's one of the thrashiest songs on the album, so if you're after a bit of old school heavy Sylosis, as we discuss in the interview, I recommend checking that one out. It goes hard. The whole album goes hard, really. I've been giving it a bit of a flogging. That's my unpaid endorsement and my thanks to Sylosis and crew. So to all of you out there, whether you're a Patreon riff nerd or just part of the Inner Strength Check community, I just want to give a big hearty welcome and thank you for listening. And as always, peace, love, and grindcore. Take it easy, guys.